Howdy, welcome to BanjoBenClark.com. I am Banjo Ben, your host here on the website that teaches you how to play banjo, of course, but also mandolin. This week is Guitar Week. We're doing a great old fiddle tune called Temperance Real. I heard from you this week on my Facebook page. That's what folks wanted to learn. So that's what we're doing. It's a pretty fairly basic version of that. I make the second A part and the second B part a little bit tougher than the first A and B part, just so it builds a little bit. But also we're going to work on something that's very important, and that's figuring out our left hand positions, okay? And so moving up whenever we need to move up to make our fingering a little better and to use stronger fingers to do that, okay? If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, here in a moment, I'll ask you to come over to the website, BanjoBenClark.com. You can join as a Gold Pick member. That allows you to stream hundreds of videos. I've put one up every week for years, as well as download the tabs and MP3s for all of my lessons. I'd be honored to have you on board. Let's jump into the first measure of Temperance Real. Let's learn Temperance Real. I think this is an old Irish fiddle tune. If I'm wrong about that, don't shoot me, but I think that's what I've read. It's in the key of G, and we're going to learn a pretty basic version here. This is a typical fiddle tune in that it has two A parts that are 8 measures each, and then it goes into 2 B parts, which are 8 measures each. This one's neat because the A parts are kind of based out of the key of G, and then when we go into the B part, it's going to be based out of the minor key, the relative minor in E minor. So we'll look at that. And then one of the other things we're going to work on, besides just learning the solo here, is learning how to best get in the right position with our fretting hand to be able to play the notes that we need to play. So sometimes we'll need to be all the way down against the nut, sometimes we'll need to shift up, and we'll look at that as we learn this. Let's go ahead and throw the tab up. I've got you a couple measure of intro here that we'll look at, but the first thing you'll notice is beneath each one of the notes I have little black arrows. So the down arrows would mean down strokes. We're going to play those on down beats. The up arrows would be up strokes. We'll play those on up beats. So you want to pay attention to those if you're not used to alternate picking. Now I've got a 2-measure intro that sounds like this. Okay, and we just use that to kind of set the tempo, especially if you were playing this with someone else and they were going to accompany you. This would be a good way to get into it. We're going to start with our ring finger and slide from 4th to 5th fret on the D string. Then leave that down because I want that note to ring out. Then we're going to go to the open 3rd string and play a little shuffle pattern. So measure 1 sounds like this. Measure 2 is almost exactly like it, except the last beat of measure 2, we're just going to come down and hit an open 4th string. Now measure 3, we're going to get into this first A part, and we want to be what I call in home position, which is our first finger covers the 1st fret, second finger 2nd, 3rd, pinky covers the 4th frets. We'll need to switch here in just a little while, but that's where we're going to start out. In measure 3, slowly, it sounds like this. Pretty basic, we're just walking right up the G major scale, right? Now in measure 4 here, we're going to use a lot of our ring finger. It sounds like this. Let me play measures 1 through 4 for you slowly, then we'll move on. If that was too fast for you, I've got another video where I do it much slower than that. Now, let's look at measure 5. Here we're going into an E minor, and I want you to look at these first couple measures, 5 and 6, and notice what frets are going to be played. You'll notice we're going to play the 2nd frets and the 4th frets. Now, we could stay in that home position, but that's going to mean that we're going to need to play some 4th frets with our pinky. That's fine. I grew up a piano player. That's not difficult for me. I was always using my pinky. However, it's probably best to scoot up to where our index finger plays the lowest fret that we're going to play, especially if we'll have a chance to shift back later, and we will. So here at the start of measure 5, whenever we play that open 2nd string, I'm going to shift my hand up so now my index finger covers the 2nd fret, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So it sounds like this. So now I'm playing the 4th fret with my ring finger. That's just a little stronger. We're a little bit more accurate with that finger. Now in measure 6, we're going to play a 4th fret here on the G string, which is the same note as our open B string. I'm going to choose to play the 4th fret there just because I think it sounds better. There's actually a tonal difference. Measure 6 sounds like this. Now here's what we're going to need to look at. In measure 7, we're going back into the exact same lick that we saw in measures 3 and 4, where we need to be back down. That's fine because we have time to shift. Whenever we go to play this open fret, open G string at the beginning of measure 7, well, let's shift down and play that same lick we just learned. Okay, so let's play measures 5 through 8. I'm going to start playing, then I'm going to shift so you can see how I do that, and then I'll shift back. You can practice along with me. So we get into measure 9, we're going to wrap up this first A part, and guess what? We're going to do the same thing. We're going to shift back to what we could call 2nd position, I guess. We've already learned that measure. That's the same as measure 5. And then measure 10. Now we're going into the 2nd A part. And this is much the same. It's the same chord progression, same melody as the first A part, but we're adding in more 8th notes. So it's going to be a little bit more going on. Let's check that out.